I'm a feminist, but I cannot spell menstruate to the extent where my spell check doesn't even know what I'm going for. And here's the tip I've got for you. It's menstruate. Strew. It's not menstruate or menstruate. It's strew. It's MENS. And I think it's confusing that it starts with men. I know there are some men that do it, but most people who do it are women, and it starts with men, like so many things. Menopause as well. Menstru.
Well, that just means they're having a break. Well, we do something very important and all-consuming. They're on pause. It was a pun. You were right. They were above it. You were above it. I'm going to have a word with myself.
Got it. Menstruate. Okay, so does anyone here think they can just spell menstruation off the bat without any help? Just
only
confidently?
At this gig could we open
yes?
with a spelling bee.
Okay,
yes,
spelling
please.
bee. And you've got to say menstruation at the beginning and the end like they do in America when they do on a spelling bee. Okay.
Menstruation. MENSTRUATION. Is that correct? Menstruation.
Perfect.
Wow.
Perfect. And I just think it's impossible. But why does my spell check doesn't even fucking know what I'm trying to say? No. And I do the right thing, because I know it's not going to be right. And I do it, and it goes, literally has no suggestions from me. It doesn't have any other, it just goes, it's so I'm so far away. Yeah. And I'm a feminist, it should know what I'm trying to say. Should make a fucking guess.
I feel triggered sometimes by my autocorrect. Every time I try and write and, so that is several times a day, it changes it to abs. Abs, imaginary abs.
That's how...
An item I've never had and never will have.
That's how much it knows that you do all of that.
Yeah, but Kickstarter. Fuck off. I've got a one-pack. Always have, always will.
Yeah, but you do a lot of Kickstarter. It's not Kickstarter, is it? Kickstarter where you raise money.
No.
What's the one you do that's not Kickstarter? It's
CrossFit.
CrossFit.
If anything, it's a pyramid scheme. Quite the opposite.
Kickstarter sounds like kicking and punching, doesn't it? Kickstarter, like that's...
It would be a very successful fitness brand if it wasn't already busy. Being a very successful brand.
You do one.
I'm a feminist, but my sexist baby is 8 now and has learned negging. The other day, he made so many comments about how old I look. Huge macroaggressions.
The child.
Here's a list of some of them I made a note of. I've already told all my... so I'm 40 for context. I've already told all my friends you're already 41.
What a twat. Sorry, he's your child.
In a snuggle, and he went, your face is so soft, but also loose.
How old is he?
8.
Well, when I see him, I'm going to say you look 12.
Your eyes are... He'd love that. This is the problem. He's desperate to look older. He told a barber recently, every time I get my hair cut, everyone tells me how old I look. So for this one, could you give me one that makes me look 29?
Is that what he said?
Yeah.
That's so funny.
And the barber went, OK. He said, OK, I'll do this for you. But listen, you don't get to come back here when you're 60 and complain. And my son went, we've got a deal. And then he said, what else did he say to me? He said, you look great for a 60-year-old. Your eyes look quite baggy now, aren't they? Walked in on me in the shower and went, do you know what? Your boobies are really small. And like the consistent parent and feminist I am, I laughed along with it again and again and again, until out of nowhere I frighteningly snapped and shouted, carry on with these jokes and I'll have so much cosmetic surgery you'll appear to have a toddler for a mum and it'll be all your fault.
Did he laugh or did he look frightened?
Both.
Yeah.
Scared laughter, yeah.
I love that. I'm a feminist, but I saw a headline on Instagram, on Grazia UK, unpicking the politics of the male thirst trap, which I assumed was an article about, male thirst traps, objectification of men. So I thought, I should just stop to have a little look at that. And I've got no clue what it's about because I just started looking at all the men. Look at these thirst traps, though, seriously, though.
I don't fancy that Calvin Klein one everyone's on about. also no one sent me it. My timeline was full of women comedians going, 100 people have sent me this. And I was like, absolutely no one sent me it. That one's reading Harry Potter.
That's Saltburn.
Oh, it's Saltburn.
That's the whole Saltburn
I loved
of it all. I
thought
love...
Rosamund Pike was stunning in it.
I'm a feminist, but if I could be a feminist or Rosamund Pike's character in Saltburn, I'll be that one, thanks.
Yeah. Me too. I'm a feminist,
yes, people are literally shouting yes.
She's amazing in it. And I'm a feminist, but I've had more than 3 dreams about his Willie.
Have you?
Yeah, lovely. What an absolutely lovely specimen.
3 dreams about a penis?
About someone dancing around a house.
Oh, okay.
With it dangling all around.
Okay.
Dancing.
Just the
it danced.
Yeah. Oh, I see. About a man dancing naked.
Yeah, with that Willie.
The thing about men dancing naked is that they stop, but the penis doesn't.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? With my tummy.
Okay, go on.
I'm a feminist, but, and this is risky in this audience, I think open water swimming is for pervs. This is dancing with fire in this room. I'm aware it's the movement of choice for my people. And I also say this as someone who still does it. But I do think it's for pervs. It's so cold. I've had to... last Christmas, I went Christmas Day with some friends, and it was only 8 degrees. I came out, I'd gone a neon pink. And I thought that... And when I was in there, it felt like I was being pinched. And that's quite pervy, to sort of enjoy that. And I came out and I'd gone like a glowing neon pink, and I said to my friend who was swimming with me as a physio, I was like, is that my blood? And she went, yeah. And I went, what, sort of rushing to the surface? And she went, yeah, trying to save you. That's pervy. Oh. And this year I went one up. I went on New Year's Day in Scotland in a loch. Wow. They call it a loony duke. And I went with a friend, and she's a brilliant writer called Rose Ruane, and everything she says, she turns to magic. But she articulated it better than I ever could. As we got out, she said, I think I've just shattered my fanny.
This is why I don't want to
feel
get
like it's turned to glass and been tapped with a tiny axe.
I've no time for it. No time for it. You know, there's...
It's not nice.
There's inside, there's warm, there's hot chocolate. Why are people? I'm a feminist, but I happen to know, because I've done some searching, that there is available on Etsy a candle called Jacob Elordi's bathwater. Based on the famous scene in Saltburn. If you haven't seen it, well, that's on you. I have not bought that candle, and I have congratulated myself for resisting. Like some kind of feminist legend. Yeah. But I've not bought a candle called Jacob Elordi's bathwater.
Yeah.
I've just not bought it. Every day since I've seen Saltburn, I've not bought that candle.
Well done.
And every day I think, look at me. I'm not being a consumer. I'm not buying something that's a bit like, what is that? How is that? You know, and is it feminist? No, I'm just not getting into it. I'm just not buying it. And I just think, I just don't feel this audience is giving me the credit that I am due when every day I wake up...
buying a candle.
Every day I wake up and every day I don't buy the Jacob Elordi bath candle. Now, I may buy it in the future, but I want brownie points every day between now and then.
That you don't buy the jizz candle.
You've just spoiled that movie. Sorry. He's very pretty though, isn't he?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm a feminist, but I'm considering spending money on possibly the most ridiculously unfeminist thing I've ever heard of. And now, so I'm not very good at general kind of female adulting when it comes to like beauty stuff and things like that. And as I get older, I'm forced into these situations because I think, unfortunately, I feel forced into going to greater lengths. To look like you give at least enough fucks about yourself when you go about your day. And one of the things that started happening to me is a fur on my face, which it's not the end of the world, but in certain lights, including seemingly every light I ever go to do an Instagram story in, if the light is behind me, I look like a goat. And so I'm forced, because I don't instinctively know, I don't read magazines, I have no idea what people are doing about that, to ask a friend what they're doing. And several friends told me they do a thing called, I think I'm going to say it right, dermaplaning. And I talked to my beautician about it, and I had to say, so what is it? Because I looked up, and even in my, I'm going to call it pretty rough beauticians that I go to in Catford, in South East London, it's from £65 and up to get this done, right? And I'm not above it. I was like, right, let's go. But I do want to know what it is. You know, eyes wide open. And I said to the beautician, what is it? She went, oh, well, we give you like a facial, you know, we give you like, we put some lovely stuff on your face, and then we'll sort of, you know, exfoliate and stuff. And I was like, so you wash the face? And she went, yeah, basically, we wash the face, and then we will moisturise it. And I was like, oh, great, okay, lovely. And then she went, and then we use a blade. And I was like, is it a shave? And she was forced to go, yeah. It's a wash and a shave. It's a wash and a shave! They've called it dermaplaning, and now it's at least £65.
But does it last longer than just shaving with a bit?
How could it? It's just a shave! Still might get it.
If you get that, I'll get the Jacob and Lordy passport again.
That fair.
Shave and a haircut, 65 quid. Live from King's Place in London, the Spontaneity Shop presents The Guilty Feminist with me, Deborah Francis White, guest host Jessica Fostekew, and our very special guest, Olga Koch, talking about big birthdays, the guilty hurdle, the feminist hurdle. Hello, welcome back to The Guilty Feminist. It's a brand new feminist year. And we're a little bit away from lockdown now. We're coming back out in numbers, and it is my plan this year to build our feminist action and activity right back up. Who is ready for some feminist action? Who is ready for more guilty stuff? Okay, so I'm now going to need to poll. Who's feeling more feminist than guilty? Who's feeling more guilty than feminist? Excellent. We've got a great Monday night crowd in. See, normally Monday night, they all go, no, we're here for feminism. And Friday night, they're like, we just came in from the bar because we heard there was comedy. And I'm delighted that you've come out with your guilty selves on a Monday night going, yeah, we're here, but we're here for a good time mostly. And if we can learn anything or change the world without really trying, we will. But we're not putting our back into it. It's still January. We're not drinking yet. Just give us a cheer if you're doing dry January. Just cheer if you were doing dry January and you thought, fuck that for a game of soldiers. Excellent. So many people. If you gave up on dry January, what date? Okay, if you gave up on dry January on the 1st of January, give us a cheer. You gave up on the 1st. Wow. Yep, cheers. Absolutely. What you were thinking, I'll give it a go, and then 1st of January came and you just went, oh, I forgot how awful January is. There's no Christmas or other holidays to look forward to. It's still dark and grim. It's London after all. Are you from London? Australia. You're from Australia? Oh, but you live in London. Oh, well, why did you ever think you could stop drinking in January? That was a very foolish... No. Dry January is not from people from the Antipodes trying to live in the cold. It's not for us. It's not for us. I've lived here for 4,000 years, and yet still... I might do dry July, because July's already sort of... It's a nice month. You're out, whether you're having a rosé or an elderflower, you're having a good time. There's lots of things, you know... Do you need booze in July? Not really. January, of all the months that could use a fucking gin and tonic... Why would anybody... It's like, oh, well, I drank too much at Christmas. And? I ate too much chocolate at Christmas. Do you think I'm stopping? No. Hello, look, there's people in the balcony. Hello, welcome. You're late. Is it because you were out doing feminism and you got... No. You've got ADHD! High five! I was almost late too, for the same reason. It's my show. Absolutely. Are you on the good meds? You're not yet? Okay. I recommend them. I will admit I'm a bit wired because I've been writing around the clock. I've been overworked, and so I've been taking them every single day. And they are... I think we need to be honest about the speed. That's what they are. The doctor said to me this time, they said, oh, the one that's like speed, we've run out in the UK. We keep running out of medication in the UK at the moment. I don't know if it's Brexit, just generally the state of the world, everything, nothing. I don't know. I think it's probably Brexit, but and a bunch of stuff. But the doctor said, I've run out of the one that's like speed. I can put you on the one that's like cocaine. And I said, and I went, sorry, but don't people get addicted famously to cocaine? Like, take it every fucking day. Like, you should take cocaine in the morning so you can get work done. That's what stockbrokers do. And it never ends well for the economy. I was like, I don't think that's the right thing. And he said, no, it's not like... It is cocaine, but it's not like cocaine. You won't get addicted to it. I was like, but why? And he went, it's slow-release cocaine. I was like, how is that? He said, because cocaine, you'll be up and down in 20 to 40 minutes. He said, with this, it releases over 8 hours. I was like... Do people who do cocaine know about this? Because I think they would like it. I personally am not a cocaine person. Anyway, I don't need to do dry January. I've got cocaine. Legalised, slow release cocaine. So if I were to do dry January, it would still be powdery. Okay, all right. We need to start the show. So just quickly, do you listen to The Guilty Feminist at home? If you do, give us a cheer. Just give us a cheer if you listen to it doing something unfeminist. What do you listen to it doing? Cleaning the kitchen. Is cleaning the kitchen fundamentally unfeminist? Unpack. It does sound unfeminist, doesn't it, cleaning the kitchen? Because patriarchally, women have been told to get in it, stay in it, and make sure it's clean. However, that you could argue that if you want to clean your own kitchen, you should be allowed. I'm going to ask you one question only. Who messed up the kitchen? Did you mess up the kitchen? Okay, no, you did not. All right, it is unfeminist, and I give you 1 gold guilty feminist point, which I think is a demerit. I'm not sure at this point. Anybody else listen to it while doing anything unfeminist? No. Okay, all right. What do you listen to it doing? Walking. Dog walking. Is it mostly... Do I mostly come along with you and your dog on a walk? It's an intimate time. Oh, that's so nice. I've really enjoyed all the walks. I feel like I should get cardio points for all the walks I go on with you. However, as I rarely go on a walk myself, is there any way of making an app where I get the benefit out of your walk if I come with? That would be really, really good. Has anybody done something fundamentally unfeminist? It's only the what's of January? 18th. 15th. 15th of January. Anyone done anything unfeminist yet?
See the Ulster American.
You went to see the Ulster American? Oh, that's right. You sat behind me at Ulster American. Absolutely. We were not sure about Ulster American, the play, let's be honest. Has anyone seen Ulster American? No, okay. Has anyone done anything feminist that they'd like to tell us about? Yes? What's yours?
When I was proposing to my girlfriend, I asked for a blessing not from her father, but from her sister.
And the sad thing is they both said no. And on that note, it's time to bring on my incredible co-pilot for this evening. She is a guilty feminist, much-loved favourite. Put your hands together and make incredible woohooing noises for the wonderful Jessica Fostekew. Hello. They're all very happy you're here. How are you, darling?
Really well, how are you?
I'm well.
Are you? We're busy, aren't we?
I feel very overworked at the moment and a bit exhausted, but
I'm grateful for the work, but...
Grateful for the work. But also, what I will say is I sort of have my eye on a light at the end of the tunnel.
Do you?
And it's going to feel so good. You know, have you ever hit yourself on the head with a hammer because it feels so good when it stops? That's my life at the moment.
Figuratively.
Well, you've got a small child, so yes.
Yeah. The plastic one.
Except it doesn't stop. Jess, I
Yeah.
haven't seen you for a while.
I know, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. How's your life, both guilty and feminist?
We'll get into it when I do my stand-up, but it's not been a very feminist time.
Oh, exciting. Tell us more. Well, you'll get into it when you do stand-up. Okay, I don't want to step on your stand-up.
It's not what you think.
Oh, we're so intrigued. I want to get to that now. So in that case, let's...
Gladiators.
Are you doing Gladiators?
No, I wish.
Are you just watching it?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm watching Traitors, equally...
Oh, my God, I think it's all the best things I've been on television, but no spoilers because I'm a few eps behind.
Are you?
Yes. What's
disappointing.
going on with Diane?
Can I just say, though, but it doesn't matter how many eps in you are...
This is no spoilers at all, but you know when it cuts back to them in their bedrooms, and I say this as a woman who loves PE, and it cuts back to them, like, generally, like, pretending to lounge on their bed or whatever, or that, like, Welsh lads off and doing a couple of bicep curls, or, like, they do something that they think's on brand, and then absolutely fucking out of nowhere, Diane was just doing lunges.
Lunges!
That's what shit I choose instead of a pose. Fuck yes, Diane! Oh my God, I can't
love
my number
Diane.
or hate it. Do you
love Diane.
Okay.
Yeah,
Strong
I
teacher
feel
energy from
she's
Diane.
got. Yeah, who was it? Rosie Jones. I saw on Twitter said, and if you're listening internationally,
I've
this
been
is
really
a UK show called The Traitors that you may or may not have seen internationally.
It's all over Australia and America as well.
Oh, is it? Okay, fine. So it's a show called Traitors. It's a bit like Murder in the Dark, only it's in a castle, goes on over a number of days. There's activities, but it's Murder in the Dark-esque. And you have to guess who's a traitor. And Rosie Jones said on Twitter, as soon as I saw Diane, I wanted to explain to her why I'd forgotten my PE kit. And I just, that's absolutely the vibe.
Yeah.
But she's got she's got a way about her, hasn't she?
Composure.
Yeah.
But not always. Yeah, she's a little ticking bomb, isn't she? You
yeah.
wouldn't fuck with her.
I certainly wouldn't.
I'm a bit
no.
behind, maybe people have, but...
I quite fancy her, though. I quite fancy her.
you? Such a sub.
Wow.
It's your first time a feminist, but I fancy Diane.
That's out. I've been outed here live on The Guilty Feminist. Doesn't matter how many episodes
You
you're
wait
in.
till I start talking about gladiators. You're
Oh,
gonna
great.
feel much better.
It does not matter how many episodes you're in. Paul, a sociopath, discuss. I have never experienced anything like it, because what was great about last season was Wilf was such a good game player, and he loved the chess of it and the game of it and the thrill of it. But then he'd suddenly be like, oh, but we really bonded today doing that task, and I'm looking him in the eye and I'm telling them my friend, and he'd get this real attacks of conscience, because the human in him would be like, I want to lie to my friends. But the game player in him, well, I want to win the game. And that was the juxtaposition of those things, was where it was interesting.
And this is spoilers for Series 1. Is that going to ruin anyone's night if I say a spoiler?
Spoiler for Season 1. No, if you haven't seen Season 1 by now, just cover your ears.
At the very end, when he is revealed, he's relieved.
Yes.
Like, he's sick of holding all that lies.
Yeah.
And he's made dear friends with the...
and he just
comedian,
kind of
isn't it?
doesn't want to win at the end.
And he's like, oh my God, thank God. It would have
Yeah.
felt disgusting. And that was like, oh, you're a good egg.
And I said to
egg in the
Tom, like, I mean, I'm worried Paul's a sociopath. I know we're not meant to diagnose people from the telly, but we're not. No, we're not.
bragging
Mental health
about
people
it,
say
and I
don't
think-
do
and-
that, but I can't help myself. Don't go on reality television unless you want me to diagnose you, please. I know I'm not meant to because of the feminism, but I can't stop myself when someone... Now, maybe he's acting a part, but when he goes, I love this game, and he's like really, just elbowing his friends out and just...
Well, and also when he's like, oh, I managed to express a feeling, and I really manipulated it so it looked like it was a...
Yeah.
He's really open about
when
it.
he
going,
says,
I
made
them think I was having an emotion then.
Yeah. Or he goes, all I did is I thought about missing my kids so I could cry, so I could turn it... And I thought, what kind of person...
Actors.
Well, yeah, that's an actor. acting technique.
Actually, all
That's
actors,
literally an
all
acting
actors do
technique,
that.
isn't it? But when people know you're acting, if I go and see David Tennant in Macbeth, sorry to say that in the theatre, but if I go and see David Tennant in the Scottish play at the Donmar Warehouse,
too late now.
he might be evoking things from his real life.
Yeah.
But I know that, and he knows that.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's lying in the same way as if David Tennant stood in the foyer and said to me, "Oh, it's nice to see you," and then got tears in his eyes and went, "Oh, I've just been really thinking about world events, and I think what a good guy." And then he turned around and said to his wife, "Lol." I was actually thinking about that time I lost at poker. And I've made her think I care about the world. That would be concerning. And David Tennant's never done that. I don't want that getting a rumour. That's just me. I just saw that, so that was what came to my mind.
Do you think you'd make a good traitor?
Do you know what?
I think you would, and I mean that as a compliment. I think you'd be one of the good egg traitors.
When I was younger, I had to lie a lot. I was in a cult and I had to get across borders. And it was an intersection of those two things.
Great reasons, to be fair.
You have to
I just did it to get biscuits.
I had to get across borders at times, and I was in a cult and I had to learn how to be good at it. And there can be, I'll be honest, a thrill.
Yeah.
It's a fear and a thrill at the same time.
I wish I was cool enough to think I'd be any good at it. I'd be so dog shit. If I got the squeeze on the shoulder, I think by the time the hoods came off, I'd be like that. I'd be pointing at my own forehead.
All right.
Great bluff.
If they did a sort of Red Nose Day version, which I think they might have, but
I
say they
begged my agent
to try and get you on the red nose.
I just want to go on Traitors and be the worst traitor ever. Or the most aggressive faithful of all time.
Can
you imagine? There's me there, just sort of choke holding someone. Are you? Fibbing.
Well, do you know why I think we'd be between two of us? We would make a great faithful. Do you know why?
Yeah.
Because I could do the lying and you could do the tasks.
Yeah.
Because
oh my god, the PE looks so fun.
Okay, that's the part that puts me off. I thought,
I would carry a scarecrow around all day. I'd be like, we can try both.
Sometimes I get asked to do that kind of, celebrity mastermind thing, and I always say no, thanks very much.
Do you? Can you
always
give
say no.
them my number?
No, absolutely. But I always say no. I just don't want to do that kind of thing. But I mean, if you're listening and you've got a really good one, always ask me. But I might say no. But I thought, traitors, I'd love to do the lying part or the trying to figure out. Probably wouldn't get picked as a traitor, right? So I'd try and figure out as a traitor. I'd love to do that part. And then I thought, well, I can't do all the PE.
You can.
No, oh no, I'd be terrible. I don't want to. I'm such a bad team
names
member.
on the current traitors, but you would be fine at the PA.
No, I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't. I would be terrible. I hate it. I'd hate to like.
Would you hate it?
Oh, I hate it. I'd have to jump from one plank to another plank where there's water and then fall in. Fuck off. You could not pay me enough. I'd rather do anything that. One of them last year there were snakes in a house. No, I just couldn't. No.
Oh yeah, last year there was a buried alive. That would test me.
Not interested in any of that, and especially not ones where you have to carry things uphill.
Oh. Okay, we would make a great team because you hate all the things.
Yeah, I'll do the line, you do the carrying. Okay. All right, ready. This is The Guilty Feminist, the podcast in which we explore our noble goals as 21st century feminists and the hypocrisies and insecurities which undermine them. Thank you very much. I'm Deborah Frances White. With me is Jessica Fostekew, and we are talking about the hurdle of a round number birthday.
Yeah.
The guilty side, the feminist side. So when you're coming up to the jump and you're thinking, fuck, I haven't done enough, or I'm not ready. So there are feminist things and there are guilty things about those, and so we want to talk about them because they apply in some ways to every birthday, in my mind.
Yeah.
And who's having a birthday this year? Just give us a cheer. Yep. Okay. Lots of people not. Yeah. I personally don't like rumours going around that I have birthdays. So I don't think when people say, oh, it's your birthday, I'm like, I don't want people thinking about my birthday. I just don't want people thinking I have them. I want to be a slightly timeless... have you seen Death Becomes Her?
Yeah.
I would fully do that.
Debs.
I'd fully do that contract. Happy. I'm a feminist, but... Okay. We've got to get our guest out. So before we do that, would you like to hear Jessica Fostekew, one of the United Kingdom's greatest stand-up comics, do some stand-up comedy? There So please welcome to the stage and put your hands together and stamp your feet and do all sorts of woohooing things for Jessica Fostekew.
Hi. Okay. Right. So, hello. Hi. We've been very handsome. I woke up on Saturday, and I had like this huge. It's quite rare once you're an adult. But I woke up with just fizzing with excitement, and I had my 8 hours, so that helps. I've not been drinking really alcohol very much these days, and that helped. I don't know. I woke up and I was like, just felt really buzzing, and I was like, what is it? I've got a tour coming up. I've been feeling the nerves building, but I was like, the nerves finally turned into excitement. I hope so. I've got a special coming. Maybe it's that. A few things I filmed are finally coming out. Some things I thought weren't coming out are coming out, and I was just like, whoa, this feels really nice. And then I realised it was all about Gladiators coming back. Yeah, sorry, career. And I don't know, I hope some of you watched it. The 10 to 6, Saturday nights at BBC. I loved this when I was a kid. And I watched it. I've got high expectations. Never before has there been more pressure on my child to enjoy something for me. It lived up to everything. It was everything I could have dreamed of. The whole thing brought me more joy in an hour than all of the television has in the whole of the last 40 years. It's got the most smoking hot cast in the history of television. I'm a feminist, but every single gladiator can have a kiss from me if they want. Apart from Legend. Not because he wasn't handsome, but because he's based his character on every single PT I ever had before #bodypositivity. And also, I think he's accidentally going to create himself a fan base of little Tate babies who don't understand he's a character. As much as I wouldn't kiss him, I would do some role play with him where I watch him clean my house for 3 hours, all on the promise of pegging him later. But I never do. I fancied every single gladiator. Fancying the entire cast of a TV show hasn't happened to me for years. Not since Star Trek Discovery. Yeah, I knew that would be niche, but it is worth a watch. For any bi/pansexuals in the room. There's something for everyone in that. God, it just made you feel so alive. They can all get kissed if they want. And Fury, if she wants, Jodie, her real name is, not that I've looked it up, she can get kissed and married if she wants. I haven't checked with Steph, but I'm confident she'll be fine. The show, if you didn't see it, had everything. It had trash talking, fights, it had women of lots of different sizes all being mighty, jokes, travelators, warnings not to try things at home. It even had a bit where a lady contestant called Kerry clung on to some rings up in the sky with such determinations that the gladiator, she basically had caught up with her and they're swinging through the sky to get to each other. I'm doing an impression, if you're listening on the podcast, if I get out of breath. And they're swinging through the sky towards each other and the gladiator's massive compared to the tiny Kerry lady and the gladiator sort of wrapped her legs around her and she had to use her body weight. She can tell she didn't want to wrap her whole body around her because she was probably much heavier than this tiny lady and she didn't want to snap the lady's arms on primetime TV. So incredibly, during family viewing, the gladiator was forced, if any of you saw it, to wrap her legs around her waist and effectively hump her down. And it felt like it went on for hours and genuinely looked like something we weren't all meant to be watching with our kids, and I am here for it. It had everything. It had an evil gladiator called Viper, who I would very much like to be friends with, and I can imagine in real life it's just a lovely dad who does great piggybacks. And my favourite of all, it had a contestant in it, a man called Finley, who took it all way too seriously and got incredibly impassioned to the point where he clearly injured his knee really badly, twisting it in one of the games quite early on and then getting really aggressive about carrying on and shouting stuff like, whatever happens, you won't catch me giving up. I'm never giving up. And it carries on doing the next two events with his broken leg dangling useless along behind him. It's like an episode of Black Mirror. He's dragging his twatted knee around with him and he's just getting angrier and angrier in every game and he keeps shouting things like, I'll do anything it takes to entertain this crowd and give them a great show. All the while the crowd is thinking, he's down, Finley, he's down. Don't forget you're actually dressed as a potato in a Victorian baby swimming leotard, Finley. Someone needed to grab Finley by the head and scream, "Finley, mate, remember, you're not actually at war." As I said, it had everything. That's it.
Hello, Guilty Feminists. This is Deborah. We are coming back to Australia and New Zealand in May, finally, for more incredible live shows. We start in Christchurch on the 11th of May. Then we're going to Auckland, Wellington, Adelaide, Perth, Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, and finally finishing in Canberra on the 28th of May. Every show will be different. There'll be live music from Grace Petrie at every single one. There'll be other comedians, incredible local guests, and some performance poets, as always. We cannot wait to see you there. For all the details and to book, go to guiltyfeminist.com and click on live shows. Book now because tickets are already selling fast. We've also got more shows coming up at King's Place in London on the 25th of March, the 10th of April, the 12th of June, and the 15th of July. Keep an eye on our website and our socials for news of guests and co-hosts, and we'll try and do some more around the UK this year as well, so keep an eye out for that. You can get ad-free episodes via Patreon, Apple Podcasts, or Acast Plus, and if you're passing iTunes or Spotify and you felt like leaving us a 5-star review for any individual episode or the podcast in general, we'd love you forever. And now, back to the podcast. Our guest today is a writer, comedian, across radio and television and film. She was nominated for the Best Newcomer at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival in 2018, Best Show at the Leicester Comedy Festival in 2020, long listed for Best Stand-Up Show at the National Comedy Awards in 2021, and her show Fight won the 2022 Writers Guild Award for Best Radio Comedy. Please welcome to the stage and to the mic, the incredible Olga Koch.
To address the sling really quickly, for those listening at home, I am wearing a sling. That is to say, you can be too good at hand jobs. That's a joke. I'm wearing it for attention. So, my name is Olga, and I'm very excited to announce that I'm the first woman in history to ever turn 30 years old. Thank you. Thank you. I can finally play a teenager in a high school movie. I am delighted to be 30. I love being 30. The second I turned 30, I immediately realized that 30 is younger than 28. Any 28-year-olds in? You should be at home and slaved. Because at 28, you're so filled with 30 panic that you're just like, oh my God, I need to get my ducks in a row. I need a mortgage, I need a pension, I need a partner. And then you turn 30, realize nothing has changed, and now you're doing MDMA again. I love being 30. I'm doing so many new things now that I'm 30. I did a triathlon. Thank you. Anal, oral, vaginal. In that order. I got a master's degree at the age of 30. Thank you so much. Joint honors, anal, oral, vaginal. Very exciting for me. But the most exciting thing that happened to me at the age of 30 is the rumors are true. At the age of 30, I did get both salmonella and HPV. Thank you. Thank you so much. Ladies, you can have it all. How do I get a salmonella? Thank you so much for asking. I went to Peru. I took a selfie with an alpaca, and then she spat in my mouth because she's freaky like that. And then I was like, what's the worst that can happen? 7 hours later, I am pooping myself dry in a hospital bed. You don't see Joe Lycett doing that on Travel Man. I was shitting myself to death and Channel 4 weren't even there to film it. But I looked so skinny. So yes, I did get salmonella from an alpaca spitting in my mouth. How did I get HPV? Same exact way! No, I got a pap smear like a responsible adult, and that I got a letter from the NHS saying that I got a bad pap smear. And I don't know if anyone here has ever had the luxury or the privilege of receiving this very formal, very scary letter from the NHS saying that you got a bad pap smear. But the letter from the National Health Service just opens with, "Hey, slut." All lowercase. I know that's not what it says. I know it says, "Dear Olga Koch, following your pap smear, we're writing to inform you that we're diagnosing you with being a dirty little slut." And then it proceeds to be the most condescending, sarcastic letter I have ever read in my life, okay? Because the NHS just goes, "Well, does it make you feel any better that 1 in 4 women is a slut? Does it make you feel any better that being a slut cannot be diagnosed in a man?" No? Well, you're a slut, okay. And you might die. What? We're not saying the two are related. We're just giving you two isolated pieces of information in the same letter. You're a slut who might die. Does it make you feel any better that everybody dies? No? Well, don't shoot the messenger. Don't even touch the messenger, you dirty little slut. Anyways, here's the time and place for your cervical scraping, parentheses, not recreational. You show up to your cervical scraping, right? You're in the waiting room with all the other people. You come in, you're like, "How do you do, you fellow raw-dogging legends? Fellow barebacking aficionados," right? You're taking off your cowboy hat. They're my people. It's great. And some of you do need to lighten up. Okay, everybody gets HPV at least once before they die. At least that's what the letter said. And some of you may be confused as to what HPV is, and that's because you're a man and you've definitely given it to someone. Thank you so much. I've been Olga Koch.
Yeah, welcome. Olga Koch, come and take a seat. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Can I ask you, is this all true? Because stand-up comedians lie. Is it true that you have recently turned 30? Sorry, I'm not asking about your gynae stuff. Have you turned 30, and were you at 28 more panicked than you are now?
Oh my God, absolutely. I distinctly remember at 27 breaking up with my boyfriend at the time because I was like, I have so little time to live life.
Really?
That was the excuse.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow. Yeah. Was he all right with that?
Not at the time.
No.
He's engaged now.
Okay.
And dead to me.
There's an episode of Friends where Rachel turns 30 and she's going out with a guy who's 24 called Tag, and she just realizes on her 30th birthday, sorry, spoilers if you haven't seen the episode, that she has to break up with him because she goes, "I'm going to be 35 in 5 years' time now, and that's when I want my first kid." And so she starts to work back and realizes, I've got to meet this man that I'm going to marry right away because of all these sort of women have to do this by this date, biological clock. And also we've been told, you know, you need a man and you need a big white wedding and you need kids and you need all of this stuff. And then, funnily enough, the other day I saw Jennifer Aniston, who played Rachel from Friends, chatting with Gloria Steinem. And she was saying, as Jennifer Aniston, not as Rachel, that's probably clear, that she feels
she wasn't method acting,
that women's whole worth in society, she feels put on her is you've got to be married and you've got to have procreated. And Gloria Steinem says to Rachel, not to Rachel, what am I saying? To Jennifer Aniston,
This is Barry from EastEnders all over again.
says to her in the clip, well, when we're both in deep shit because we haven't really achieved those things because they're both, I guess, at the time of the clip, single and no kids. It really made me think about the sort of, I guess, gap between that which is projected upon us just as women, whether we're feminists or not. I think we think, well, if I want children and our biological clock's ticking, and if we're planning on having kids ourselves, then I think there is a sort of like a little panic on. And I really wish I'd figured so much stuff out earlier, because I think living with that agitation of, am I doing this right?
Like a countdown clock in your head.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And like when I was in my 20s, I was in a cult for some of my 20s. And so a lot of my 30s is me trying to relive my 20s and my 30s. And here's the headline, you can't. But I
beg to differ.
Well, You can't in the. I mean,
Me and that alpaca beg to differ.
But you can to some extent. You can to some extent. But I remember seeing a friend of mine who'd also been in the same cult as me, but we'd caught up years later, and she
This
said,
is a literal cult, yeah.
Yeah, a religious cult. She said to me, she left late 20s or early 30s, and she went, so I thought, right, I've missed my 20s, so I will not be missing what people are doing in their 30s. So what are we doing in our 30s? And she was like, right, I'm going to get a really decorated my flat nicely. I'm going to start having dinner parties. I'm going to be a grown-up 30. And I thought, fuck, I wish I'd thought of that. Because I thought, gotta reclaim your 20s. And to some extent, I'm still doing that. So missed my 30s, trying to relive my 20s.
That's really reminded me of before I did my first hour of stand-up, before I wrote my first hour of stand-up, I went and watched, like really diligently and nerdily went and watched, I think probably 100 people's first hour over a couple of years. Like I went and watched so many debut hours.
Wow.
And then just as an afterthought, went and watched, I think it was Zoe Lyons do something like her 9th show and was like, oh my God, that is so much better than everybody's... Why have I wasted all my time going to watch loads of people who can't really do comedy yet? When I could have gone and watched loads of people who are really good at it now. Like, ugh!
Yeah,
it really
that's
reminded me of that
interesting.
era. Like, I was like, oh, right, I need to learn how to do the beginning. It was like, no, watch
Watch
get a
their
master
10th
class, for
hour.
fuck's sake.
Everyone really obsesses over their first hour, and then objectively, the first hour should be your worst.
Yeah,
if your
fingers
first hour
crossed.
is your best hour, you are not good.
Yeah.
That's
Well, it's a
really
short
good
career,
point.
right? Satisfaction-wise, anyway.
Yeah, that's a really good point. My first hour was not very good.
Yeah, good.
And looking back, I mean, there were some cute things in it, but honestly, it wasn't good. It wasn't good. And I wouldn't recreate it today for
Also,
anybody.
really love dinner parties being on anybody's bucket list as a sign of... Where
We
they want-
must
where
break
they
up. I
want-
haven't thrown even one dinner party.
I guess it's sort of like again,
anyone on their
sitcom
deathbed ever has
30s.
gone.
Just weren't enough times where people came to mine and I bothered with starters.
Like anybody's last death rattle is that as their big regret.
Should have had more dinner parties. It's so true. But I understood what she meant was like, don't miss this because you've missed that.
Yeah.
And that's what a piece of wisdom. Because I think I'm only just now giving up on the idea that I'm not going to have my 20s.
Right.
And I'm all right with it now. I'm sort of like, is it that great? Do you know what really got me over the hump?
Please.
Dolly Alderton's show, Everything I Know About Love.
Yeah.
Right? Her sort of comedy drama about that was all about the most glamorous, gorgeous people fully living their 20s, and they were all really unhappy. And I went, oh, so even if you do it right, you're still going to be miserable because you're just insecure. You still feel like a kid and you're just wandering around thinking, I better do sex. And
You
then
don't
feel a
know
bit sad
anything
and
about
empty.
yourself in your 20s, 100%.
Yes.
Like, I remember when I was a kid, I asked my mom, what age do you wish you were? And she's like, every age I am, I'm happy with. And I used to be like, okay, bullshit. And then now, you couldn't pay me to be like 18 or 25 again. Absolutely
No.
fucking not. Never. Oh, God. Ugh, absolutely not.
Let's talk in a decade.
Well, let's talk what?
In a decade, as in, I think it's easy at 30.
Don't you
to go,
remember
I
how
don't wanna
terrible
be
you were at
25
stand-up comedy back then?
Yeah, I was bad. I was real bad.
Sorry,
I don't want to be 24 again. Let's specifically August.
Do you know what I would like to do, though?
Oh, right.
Okay.
What? I'd like to recover quicker from PE. God.
Oh,
what a
yeah.
loser.
When you're 18, you recover quicker from PE. It's true. But do you know what I have a thing about? Please.
Okay.
It's just like, it's a little fantasy that I have, okay?
Okay.
Because I have this thing in my head that however fabulous you are, or wealthy you are, or lucky you are, privileged you are, whatever, you still only get 365 chances to wake up and have a go at being 18 or 21 or 25. Nobody gets extra chances. What if you could bank a few days? Like if you could bank 5 days of being 21 and then just revisit them at any time in your life. Like, yes, I would
Go and
never be...
live them again. You don't get to change them. You just live them again.
Oh, no.
You get to change them.
No. You get to... Like, because I would nail being 21 now.
Okay, walk us through.
Okay, well, I have the
I
confidence...
also think maybe you should save this for a script, but let's go.
Oh, yeah, it would be good. Yeah, 21 again. I would have the confidence...
But everybody pick different ages. I might go forwards.
I might be a dog for a day. Is that allowed?
That's the 4-year-old option. Can be a dog. I would have the confidence and wisdom that I have now, and the understanding that everyone else is like, well, I don't know what I'm doing either. And I would go back in, and I would have like 1 week of 21-year-old.
From a day to a week already.
Hedonism.
It's your fantasy.
Just like a week and a half, just a couple of weeks, just a month and a half.
I'll just go back permanently.
Just one golden summer of being 21.
Yeah.
Bank it, go back, be hedonistic and fabulous just for a summer. And then you flip back to your regular... Wouldn't it be great if you could bank days from various ages, not have them all at the one time, and then just leap back in time?
I'm just thinking, like, what is it that I would want then now? Maybe a working shoulder.
Yeah. I mean,
well, wait till you're 40. This week I pulled a muscle in my shoulder playing paper, scissors, stone.
Excellent.
Yeah, moving on.
And you're very strong. So what's your... You turned 40 and you had a photographer come to
Yeah, I had a big... I think, funny revelation. So this lovely photographer got in touch and said, I heard you talking probably on this about turning 40 this year. I'm taking pictures of loads of people who turn 40 this year, and there's all sorts of fascinating people on our list. Mo Farah, everyone born in 1983, basically. And I was like, yeah, what a great idea. And I hadn't expected her to also interview me. And she said, are you having a wobble about turning 40? This is when I was 39, and I was like, yeah, I am, if I'm honest. Like, and I can't, and I do... Yeah, anyway. I was like, yeah, I feel emotional about it, and I feel slightly out of control, and I feel a bit panicked, and I feel like I'm in a rush about everything, and I feel like I'm putting everything in the perspective of everything I've achieved or not achieved. Let's be honest, not achieved yet. And you know, I'm really sort of mulling over. And she went, have you had this before? And I have, but the big one, I said, was in my late 20s. But I understood that because in my late 20s, I was like, there are so many things that I know I want, but not only do I not have them, I've got no idea at this point how I'm ever going to have them. I know I'd love to own wherever I live. Like, I really want that. That's been instilled in me by the way I was brought up to, like, save up and have that. I want to love and be loved back in a way that feels equal. I know I want kids. I'm not even in a relationship. I know I want in my career to be allowed to both write and perform on the radio and on the television. I want to have people that come and see me specifically do comedy. I had this list and I was like, I only don't have those things. I don't have any way in my mind or clear path to getting those things. So of course I was having this massive panic about turning 30. And she went, and what about now, about turning 40? And I went, yeah, I've got those things. So I think the panic now really is just my face is melting. And it hit me like a train. I was like, oh, it's vanity now. That's it. There's nowhere to hide. You vain bit, like, fuck. Basic vain fuck. Like...
It's so
not how you expected it to end.
No, I know.
Sorry, it wasn't an empowering end.
No, I'm just thinking about it philosophically.
It stopped the wobble in its tracks. I was like, what have you got to... You can't have a fucking crisis about this.
I've said it before, but I think it bears saying again. Why does confidence arrive just as college and as leaving the building? Like, do you know what I mean? It's just so fucking annoying. Yeah. Well, you don't stop nodding, you fucking 30-year-old. Sorry. So rude of me. That's so rude of me. So sorry, it's so rude of me. You're my guest. But look at your lineless face and all your collagen keeping everything pointed up, and you're like, yeah, it's really awful. You haven't... Well, I can't see any dippage. Going on there at all. I can barely see
any dippage.
I can't see any dippage on you, Richard.
We're not going to risk a conversation with my son.
Oh, yeah.
Any of us are going to feel empowered about our dippage. I'm not even teaching him the word dippage. I taught him jowl, and I regret that.
What do you have a sort of feminist and guilty list of things you'd like to do by the time you're 40, or is it more a sort of spectrum of morph? Do you know what I mean? Is it more like I want to turn into this kind of person by the time I'm 40, or have you now, because of what you learnt about don't panic about turning 30, just chucked that out and gone, no, I'm going to take it day by day?
Well, I'd like to think that, but I do think that one of the things that really upset me, numbers are everywhere. Like the thing that I think a lot of overachieving people in their 30s are haunted by is the 30 under 30 lists, where you're like, that's gone, okay? So I think in your 20s, you have that moment where you're like, okay, I guess I'm never going to be in the Olympics. That happens to everyone in their 20s, where like, okay, acrobatics are out the window. And then you're like, well, I have the Forbes 30 under 30 list. It's fine. It's going to be okay. So 25 to 30, you're like, I'm on the list. And then you turn 31 and you're like, all right, that list is not happening. And I suppose, and then you just realize how much around you is just like these arbitrary numbers. It's like whether it's weight or followers on Instagram, it's everywhere. Numbers are everywhere. Everything is a countdown. Everything is like the metrics, the number of people like who showed up to your birthday party, and it's just like I hate numbers, and if I could just do away with them altogether, that would be great.
Yeah.
Is it arbitrary? It's like just how many times we go around the sun and then we think I should have done more. I feel there's pressure every fucking birthday. I feel like as long as my life's moving on, and it's not actually, it's got to be this. It's more, my thing on my birthday is my life moving forward? Am I doing something this year that I couldn't or wouldn't have done last year?
Okay.
Then I'm happy and I'm okay. And I actually quite can enjoy my birthday because I can look at it, move on. When my life looks identical and I'm doing the same thing, I feel like I'm treading water. I can get so distraught on my birthday that I spiral into a deep depression. And fortunately, that hasn't happened for quite a few years, but it used to happen, and it was in my 30s it would happen, and I would get so upset. I'd be like, it's never going to happen, and I can't, and this sort of paralysis and feeling like I've tried so hard, and why are things not moving forward?
Well, I think that's one of the things that's unhelpful about it, is something about landmark birthdays makes you seek to control shit you can't control.
Yeah, wise.
Unless you genuinely believe in manifesting or, I don't know. I think there is... I don't know. I feel like that's quite a controversial thing to say. Maybe you can... or an unempowering thing to say. But there is so much you can't control. Like... And in our industry, like in terms of our work and stuff like that, all you can do is enjoy the ride and work hard. Like that's all you can do, really, work-wise.
I worked out with my therapist, who's quite woo-woo, fantastic.
Yeah.
She's quite woo. And I don't believe in manifesting. I obviously believe if you're in a privileged do you know what I mean? If you're in a position where you can work hard and walk out the door with positivity, of course more things will come to you. If you turn up to a meeting like, I bet this is going to be good, they get that vibe from you, you put that into the meeting as if, no one's ever going to want to talk to me or whatever. Of course. But the world tells a story that if manifesting is true, white people are great at it. Male people are fucking great at the secret. White male people, white male rich people actually are great at the secret. White male rich people who've had a good education and so on and so on and so on are great at manifesting. So I just think I get upset about the idea of, you'll just draw it all to you, because I'm like, well, it feels so victim blaming to me. However, I am also in a position where, of course, if I go out the door thinking there's no point. And that's true with feminism as well. If I wake up in the morning and think there's no point trying, the news is so awful, what's the fucking point? I am not going to change anything.
No, we've got to look at things with more hope and positivity than that.
Because it affects how hard you try.
Yeah. Oh, my whole new show is all about this.
Is it?
Just trying for the sake of trying. Actually, there's joy in that.
I 100% agree that there's joy in just trying, because trying is human.
And also, things are impossible until they're not, right? Like, they can be completely impossible. And it's not talent or magic or manifesting or luck. There are ways, if we're inventive enough, of putting consistent practices into place that make the impossible happen. I don't know how to describe it better than that. I suppose an example is here's a really basic example. It's like, I don't think anyone in a body like mine at my age was ever going to learn to do a pull-up. And it's not something you do overnight, but if you practice, if someone who really understands your body and the movements gives you certain movements you can do, and you do it consistently over, for me, ages, about 18 months, you can do it.
Yeah.
And you're standing there holding this thing, trying to pull your weight up, going, well, I'm never going to be able to do that. Actually, you can. And I wish, I don't know, there are so many things you go, well, I just can't do it. That's impossible. And actually, if we're going to look at bigger picture in terms of massive, conflict internationally, if we're going to look at the climate crisis and things like that, I think it would serve us really well, actually, to not look at things as permanently impossible, even if they're impossible now.
And that for what? Oh, sorry, Olga, you go.
Oh, sorry. Just I really like what you said, and I think that requires sort of a mental jump of a willingness as an adult to be bad at something, and that's something we're really hesitant to do.
Yeah.
We're willing to learn new things and be bad at things as like children and adolescents, but being bad at something as an adult is so uncomfortable.
Yep.
And like I felt that way. What I did genuinely get a master's degree, not in anal, oral, vaginal, last year. But it's like I remember walking into the classroom and being like, I have no idea, and you're just sort of so uncomfortable. And then but then you can incrementally see yourself gaining a skill or learning about something, and it's so exciting. But it's not something that we're conditioned to do as adults ever. And if anything, we are encouraged to fudge it and pretend like we know what we're talking about, and
Like
never
politicians.
willingly be stupid or ignorant. And most of the time, in order to achieve new things, you need to be bad at them first.
Yes, and understand how many times you have to be bad. And the pull-up thing, wherever you are in terms of ability, that might not be your thing. Your thing might be getting out of bed and breathing or whatever. You know, like no, seriously though, some people like it depends on where you are in your life and where you are in your physical ability and all of that. But I think that position holds true. I found the same thing with dancing. I will never do a pull-up. Do you know why? I don't want to enough.
Yeah.
Don't want to enough. And I think
valid.
Yeah.
I think
but the Olympics
also,
are still
I
an
mean-
option, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, but it's
all about the gladiators.
What I worked out with my therapist is when I was unhappy. The reason I was unhappy is I was desperately trying to change things I couldn't, and everything I could change, I ignored.
Yeah.
So I would ignore the fact that I could change reading a book every day.
Yeah.
And put down my phone,
Yeah.
which does make me happy, and it sort of stimulates me for the kind of work I do and all of that. Would not do that. Like, of course I can control that.
Yeah.
Would not do that. But desperately trying to change people's minds out there in the world, whether that be in government or my industry or whatever. Look, instead of going, I can't control them, but here's the steps I can take to do the best I can to change. Maybe it will shift and change something if I do it in a strategic way. But in the meantime, here's all the things I can change. And that was such a revelation to me. Have I changed things? No. But still, the point is, I have changed some things. But most of the things still, of course, I struggle with it like everybody. But it's true. Examine if you're unhappy. Are you trying to shift something that you don't have any control over? That doesn't mean you don't keep trying, especially if it's marching or writing to your MP. It doesn't mean you don't keep trying. But you don't get upset because you're not changing something out of your control.
Yeah.
And to solve that, every day you do something that is in your control.
Yeah. Like you can't... Yeah, and those truths can coexist. You can have the truth of the fact that there are things you can't control, and accepting it is freeing. When you're on a train that is delayed, you can't affect that. There's nothing you can do about it. If the train is stopped in train traffic, whatever they stop for, a leaf.
Does heavy complaining not do it?
Getting stressed doesn't do anything. That's like I'm giving such basic British examples, but that is like a situation where you can go, I can't control it. No one's allowed.
Relax.
I can't be angry with me. Wherever I'm going, they can't be angry with me. This is out of my control. Mm-hmm. And then there's other situations where you're like, right, this situation needs to change. What steps can I put in place? And it might not work, but it is worth a try. And like, I don't know. So you can't stop yourself aging, but you can do work to stop yourself feeling shit about getting older or about your body right now or what you want to be able to do or not do with your body.
Yeah. And my thing this year is consistency, because what happens to me is I know I feel better if I do exercise, and I've got really great routines when I'm in my own home, and then I go off on tour or I go off on and I just think, well, I'll take these pulley things to the hotel, or I'll go down to the hotel gym, or I'll go for a long walk around the new city. That'd be really nice. I'll find a yoga class, and if I don't get off the plane and do it immediately, I just don't do it at all. And then 2 months has gone by while I've been doing things, and I think, oh, fuck, I haven't done anything. So I need to get consistent. How do I do that? Olga, help me. You've come on saying you've cracked birthdays. I felt that's very much what you're promising.
Okay, no, genuinely, I do have a piece of advice for this.
Great.
Can I?
Yes.
Okay, so we've already used the example of a master's degree, how I got into stand-up, how I got a master's degree, how I got literally every achievement I've made in my life. I have told many people that I was going to do it. So I remember having a day job and telling everyone over lunch, being like, I'm going to try stand-up comedy. 7 months later, people are like, have you tried it? And then it becomes so embarrassing, you simply must.
Embarrassing deadlines.
I kid you not, I told most of my family that I had applied for a master's program before I even looked into it.
Wow.
So the shame and guilt and embarrassment of facing people
Patriarchal
who you
tools.
fully lied to is my biggest driver in life.
So you use the patriarchal tools
I'm
of guilt and
engaged.
shame. No, Running Around Town. That's a great movie. That's our rom-com.
Yeah.
She just, out of embarrassment at a party, because so many of her friends are getting engaged, just goes, fuck this, I'm sick of being the single... Right, I'm engaged. And then runs around town before the next wedding trying to find
Fulfilling the
someone...
prophecy,
Arranging.
Trying to someone who'll marry her. And then she probably learns...
About the meaning of Christmas.
I can only assume. I can only assume. I can only assume. She learns that she's really should work on the greatest relationship of all, the one with her
God.
I was going to say personal trainer. Because they are great to have affairs with. Just the odd fling. No, it is true. The only two men I've ever ghosted were both my personal trainers. I was sleeping with neither of them. I just didn't want to exercise anymore. And so I just stopped returning their texts. It was so embarrassing because they were like, well, you've paid for 3 more sessions. And I was like, I know I've paid for 3 more sessions. I don't want to do it. So I just stopped. And then one of them I ran into and it was awful. Yeah. I returned to the scene of the crime. I heard he'd left the gym. He hadn't. He hadn't. He come back and he was like, where?
Well, that shame is exactly what I'm trying to avoid.
Yeah.
Because you promised him 10 sessions and you couldn't
deliver.
deliver.
Just went, oh, fuck you.
It's all about shame.
No,
I
Motivate
think
yourself
also when
with
you...
shame.
This isn't funny, but I think when you have those conversations, you're also trying on what it sounds like to talk about you doing that thing. It's funny, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I do that quite a lot.
Okay, so let's practice here now.
Oh, no.
We're all going to say one thing. I'm going to say one thing as if I'm doing it, both feminist and one.
But it has to be something we can control.
I'm going to do yes, one thing that we could do. So I'm going to do one personal thing and one feminist thing. Okay. Do you know what I did this morning?
Is this what manifesting is, ultimately?
This is your version of it, and you've told us that it works. So if it doesn't, it's very much your fault. I contacted Keir Starmer's office this morning.
Yeah.
And said I would really like, as your constituent and as somebody who has some kind of platform of people who are politically motivated, obviously not the ones that come on a Monday night who are just here for the lols, but there are other audiences who are, and I know that you are as well. I contacted Keir Starmer's assistant and said, look, I see that you're going to win in a landslide according to the press, but I worry about Labour resting on its laurels because we've rested before. We all remember Neil Kinnock. You don't, obviously. I don't really remember Neil Kinnock, but I know it was a whole thing. Anyway, and I would like to talk to you about your agenda, your policies, because at the moment it sounds a lot like what you're going to do is exactly what the Conservatives have said that they were going to do. So I am wanting to know from you, as your constituent and as the Guilty Feminist podcast person, what makes you different from the Conservative Party? And I want a specific list before I'll tell anybody to vote for you. So I did that this morning.
Amazing.
Incredible.
I did that this morning.
Incredible.
And I heard back.
All right.
And yeah, I heard back, and he's agreed to have a meeting with me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Really good.
Yeah, I heard
And
back.
he's here tonight.
Yeah. He said, well, no, but he's going to cut. He's definitely going to allow
Should we
me
do an episode.
Well, I think he's probably going to allow me to record like a short interview in which I say, hey, what are we voting for here? Because here are our talking points. And I'm really looking forward to airing that interview. Yeah. Oh, God, this is stressful.
Oh, I love it so much.
Yeah.
It's expanded, isn't it?
And also on another level, I got in touch with my dance studio last week, who I've got some sessions in credit, got in touch with my dance teacher, said I haven't moved for a couple of months, but I really want to get back into it. And I've booked in 5 sessions over the next 2 months, so I feel really good about that.
Hell yeah.
Right.
Oh my God, I'm so excited for for you.
I'm so happy for you.
Yeah, it's really good.
And they
So
came
good
back
to-
and went, you paid for 5, but come to as many as you like.
Yeah. I promise not to ghost
Even if it's 3.
them. That I've already organised it. So I think you should. The main thing is how already done it is. Olga, what have you already done?
Oh my God, huge news. I've applied to a number of PhD programs
Oh,
all over. Very excited about
you're going to be
that.
Dr. Olga Koch.
Dr. Koch is... It was either that or changing my first name to Doctor. So whichever's easiest. And then the second thing I'm really excited about, I have seen the movie The Godfather, and I have an opinion on it.
Really nice.
Jess, what have you already done? Definitely already done.
In great news, I have written a book. Yeah.
What's it called?
Woo!
It's a novel called Mummy Shortlegs.
Mummy Shortlegs, like Daddy Longlegs.
No, quite the opposite. And
You've written a novel?
yeah,
That's
thriller.
amazing.
Thriller, crime thriller called Mummy Shortlegs.
Have you got any publishers interested?
All of them. They're in a bidding war. They're in a bidding war.
Amazing.
Yeah, people are ringing about the rights to turning it into a
I can
film.
only assume. assume.
But they've said we want to make it a film, but only if you please direct it and play the lead.
Such great news.
Yeah.
I'm amazed you didn't tell me that backstage because you must have sat on that hard.
Yeah, no, I've just, New Year's resolution, less bragging.
This is great. I really love this, Jess, because I think what we need is more representation from female voices and queer female voices, and so I'm really excited about Mummy Shortlegs and what it's going to do for the...
Is it true that you agreed to only do it if they let you have a pull-up scene?
Yeah. Well, it comes with territory, actually, because it's the story of somebody's sort of rise to fame as a gladiator.
And on that note, let us have a huge round of applause for Olga Koch. A huge round of applause for Jess Fostekew. Olga, anything to plug?
Please come see me on tour. My show Prawn Cocktail is touring the United Kingdom, India, Australia, and New Zealand.
What?
Incredible.
Amazing news. Fantastic. Jess Fostekew, anything to plug?
Please come and see my show on tour. It's called Metal, and it's touring just now across... It sounds so puny now, but just across the UK and Ireland. I will go to those places as well if they invite me. But they probably won't invite me until they've all seen...
They haven't invited me. Why do you think I'm just saying?
Oh. Yes, please come and see us both on tour.
Absolutely.
Olga and I are on tour.
And we're doing Australia and New Zealand, but I'm not doing half of those exciting places you're doing. Can I come?
Please.
Oh, sorry, I am.
You're doing all of them, apart from India.
Yeah, what was the place? India. Yeah, I just booked a tour to India.
Lovely.
Weirdly, just got a text through now.
Did he? It's already
Would you
sold
like
out.
to come to India? And oh, wow, it is already sold out. So
sold
nice.
out. God.
Yeah. God, this is so great. It
actually makes you feel amazing.
It does make you feel amazing. You have been listening to The Guilty Feminist with me, Deborah Francis White, guest co-host Jessica Fostekew, and our very special guest, Olga Koch. The recording engineer was Chris Sharp. The Guilty Feminist theme tune was composed by Mark Hodge. The producer was Tom Salinsky for The Spontaneity Shop. Thanks to Rachel Croft and Gina Dicio, Zainab Mohammed, and everyone at King's Place, as well as all of you for listening. More information about this and other episodes, visit guiltyfeminist.com. All right. I'm going to say live from King's Place in London. Live from King's Place in London, the Spontaneity Shop presents... Oh, sorry, I forgot to tell you when to clap. When it says London, you clap. When I say London, you break into spontaneous applause. Jess will then bring you to a climax using...
The Guilty Feminist is provided exclusively from Acast. Find it wherever you get your podcasts.